It looks like OnePlus is at it again, guys. Look, as someone who grew up, how I should say it, maybe poor, I was always looking out for cheap consumer electronics. I couldn't afford the top of the line device, right? So I was going to buy a cheaper device and then do whatever I could to make it good. I was one of those weirdos who bought an Asus EPC, if you remember those things, and then bought like a touchscreen module off of Deal Extreme and a little controller board and modded it and installed Windows XP on it because that was faster, and stripped out a bunch of services to make it even faster than that. I love cheap electronics, all right? And OnePlus, you're singing my tune. We have a news story from AndroidCentral.com. Some good reporting here, guys. Some good reporting. I'm into it. Exclusive. Entry-level OnePlus Clover launching globally with a 6,000 milliamp hour battery for $200. Let's do the quick rundown here. OnePlus is working on an entry-level phone. Entry-level, yeah, $200. Very much an entry-level phone. It is going to be powered by the Snapdragon 460, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage. I feel like we need to talk about that really briefly here. So the Snapdragon 460, their last phone, the Nord, which everyone said performed fine. That was the Snapdragon 765G. Now the Snapdragon 460 is the lower end version of Snapdragon's processors. You know, the 765G was definitely a step up. It's not as high as the 8 series. 7 series is lower. This is the 4 series. This is their entry level. So let's look at it. 1.8 gigahertz octa-core. So this is still an 8-core, 1.8 gigahertz, but that's not, you can't tell everything just from that. Max on-device display is 1080 by 2520 at 60 hertz, so we're not going to be getting a fast refresh rate on this screen. But a lot of this stuff, look, we're just going to have to wait and see what the performance is like. Do I think it's going to be this world beater processor with 4 gigs of RAM and a 460 processor? No, I don't. Do I think it's possible that for the average user it's going to be fast enough? I think it's definitely possible, especially with OnePlus's optimizations. So let's roll on to the next little section here. It has 3 cameras on the back, 13 megapixel primary joined by two 2 megapixel lenses. So you're probably getting like a macro and maybe like a really shitty telephoto, but still you're getting a triple camera on this thing for around $200. And they're not actually even maxing out the possible resolution on this thing. They're actually going a little bit lower than even that. But then I want you to come back to 6,000 milliamp hour battery. On a lower end processor that should use way less power, a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. This thing is going to last forever. This is going to be a 2+ day phone with all likelihood. It's inappropriate to compare this phone to really anything else other than phones in its vicinity price-wise. And at $200, this phone is going to present an incredible value proposition for people. We have to understand that these processors, like I've said in other videos talking about the Surface Duo, these processors are so much faster than they need to be. There's so much more raw horsepower than there needs to be for your average consumer. The hardware has outstripped the demands of the software. Unless you're trying to run Fortnite with maxed out settings on your phone, day-to-day stuff, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, taking a few pictures, which is what, 99% of people do with their phones 99% of the time. You don't need a Snapdragon 865 Plus for that. You just don't. You don't even need a 765G, more than likely. You may notice that opening your app is going to be a split second slower, but we're talking about the difference between, an app opening instantly and an app opening in a second. It's not that big of a deal. And when you're talking about a phone being $200 that you can put in your pocket, charge it every other day for this price, a big screen, going to be totally fine for watching YouTube. I know people freak out about screen resolutions as well, but guess what? I always use this phone as an example because it's the one that's been in my pocket for the last year. I've really loved my OnePlus 7 Pro. You can change this thing, toggle it around between Quad HD Plus, which is 3120 by 1440, and FHD Plus, which is 2340 by 1080. You can toggle it back and forth manually, and I've done this, and guess what? You can't tell. Maybe if you sit there and just staring into it, an inch from your face, maybe you could tell a little. But no, you really can't. So do I think going down to 1560 by 720 is going to be like, oh, my eyes are bleeding, I can't look at the screen? No, it's going to be fine. Is it going to have the darkest blacks? Is it going to be this amazing OLED? No, probably not. Probably not going to be an OLED at all, as hinted here, the fact that it is actually going to be using a rear fingerprint sensor. It's probably just going to be a standard, some kind of basic LCD screen with all likelihood. It's also retaining a headphone jack. No 5G, not a big deal. 64 gigs of storage is a little light for some people, but hey, Google Photos, you'll be all right. I am super pumped to see OnePlus targeting the entriest of entry levels again. This thing could sell a lot of units if it's halfway decent at all. You figure most people's primary concerns are, how do the pictures look? Is the screen decent? How's the battery life? And, does it perform horribly? And if it can tick all those boxes for $200, this thing could be the, pay-as-you-go phone go-to easy answer for the next, at least year and a half or so. Guys, that's all I've got for you on this one. What do you think of this phone? I mean, look, most of you are watching my channel because you're tech enthusiasts, so you're probably not going to be like, ooh, yeah, $200 low-end phone. But keep in mind how many people, not just in the United States of America, but across the world potentially, could really benefit from a solid $200 phone. How many people, I know so many people just in my immediate family that they're using some piece of shit phone that they bought at Walmart as part of their Straight Talk plan with, it's made of cheap plastic and big old giant bezels, and it's running Android 9, and, this is a huge improvement potentially for those people, which those people are a lot of people, like a lot of people. I'd love to know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.